Hello, how are you? Frank Mola is my name. It's all about being 40 because we are 40 guys. Remember that, okay? Now, it's 2021. Totally amazing. You guys were wondering what happened to being 40. Well, nothing really happened. We are here, right? And like most of you are working from home, PSC kidogo tulikuwa tuna work from elsewhere, but we are here bigger and better, guys, all right? Now, what do you want to talk about today? Of course, Venus is next to me. She's going to say one or two things, but it's all about marriage. It's all about how is it happening for you guys. Me, I'll tell you for real. For real. Me, I'm not the doctor. Me, sijui story ya marriage. I will not comment much. I'll leave this for Venus. Venus, happy 2021.
Happy 2021. Ona hauja change. Yani the inboxes on Being 40. Yani guys, thank you so much for always, keeping in touch. Our inboxes have been full, and Frank, by the way, talking about marriage, sijui kama umeona hizo ma comments, guys have been actually sending us messages. Are you guys, in a position to talk about relationships and marriages? Because truth be told, 2020 was a very interesting year. Everyone was grounded, so marriages were actually, some marriages, happened to thrive. Others, correct. People just, decided, hawawezani, like I can't be able to see your face every other day. I've just decided I'm over, I'm down, yani, But for others as well, the guys who just met and started family. So it worked. I mean, everyone had something for themselves in 2020. But interestingly, I think and statistically, a lot of guys, I can squint, a lot of guys, you knew they're 40, being 40, a lot of guys actually parted ways. And this was really, really sad. And even as we are talking, a lot of marriages and relationships are struggling. And part of the, questions that we've been asked is it different in our 40s? I mean, having, personally, I got married very, very young. As I always said, mi nilikuwa tu demu wa mtaa, nimezuba chini ya mti. You know those stories? Kidogo msee amekuja kona nini? Sijui ni lugward. Hizo siku hizo kwa lugward. Nikakuwa tu lugward ati hizo masopeperas. And that was it. Kidogo niko na ring. And that's where my story began. But looking backwards, it's been actually almost I celebrated my 16th anniversary just recently. And
congratulations.
Thank you. Being with the same guy for almost close to 20 years. It's not easy. So I know the drama, I know everything. Like I've been in that journey. And even when I talk to guys, I talk from my own experience. But Frank, let me just, throw a ball into your court. Like, how is it?
I hope it's a ball.
For you.
See your fireball.
Apana si fireball, ni too easy.
I mean,
how
genuinely,
is it?
Venus, like I said, marriage is not for the faint-hearted. It's like when you hear guys saying, it's not a bed of roses, my friends. It is very true, right? There's a lot of things that comes into consideration, and I think one of the things people are learning, and mostly during COVID, like you rightfully said, kuna watu wengi wali separate, kuna watu wali thrive in a very nice way, but hata wame thrive. I think there is what we call a 6 and 9. In a way, you have to look at your 6 and the other person's 9. If you stick and stand on your 6, if you don't go where Venus is, kuelewa ni nini Venus anasema ni understand, then kuna conflict. But what happens again is, I think at 40, some of the things and lessons I would really pick out is, majority of guys who started off, vile wewe ulianza chini ya mti na kila kitu, you've built a lot of things together. There's a structure, there's a foundation. You have a story. Unajua husband hata akikwambia kitu fulani unaambia nakumbuka bana, unajua tulikuwa tunalala chini na wewe, but saizi we are here and all that stuff. I think there's that kind of marriage where people just started from somewhere, and there's that one where you're meeting when either the lady or the guy, it doesn't have to be the guy who's successful, but either or has already achieved certain things in life. I find that having a lot of complexity. I find that having a lot of, you're coming into somebody's life and somebody has achieved certain things. You're coming into Frank's life, or Frank is coming into your life as a lady and already umefika mali fulani. That compromise is a bit tough. And I think this is where, on the separate conversation we are having, is, does therapy come in, that counseling come in, or what really needs to happen? Because generally, each marriage must have its own formula, eventually. You must have your own formula. But the toughness is, wale walianzia hapa, kuna vile wanajuana as they come up. Wale wamepatania hapa, hey, kuna noma zingine tu yani. So it's totally different. It's totally different.
I totally disagree with you, Frank.
And
so not even from a counseling point of view. I think what attracts people into a relationship, mostly it's the attraction, which is, the love. It's passion that brings you together. But as you start, si kuna ile physical attraction. Ukipenda mtu kwani unapendanga mtu juu ya, there's those qualities. Si ni love, umekuwa friends.
Men are usually physical, right? Unakaa hivi unaona Christine unasema we, imekubali. Then the others come. Ladies are emotional.
Sasa hapo unanichanganyisha ndugu yangu, hata kama nilifail Kiswahili. By the time you're attracted to someone because of the physical makeup, sio tu ni love. There's that energy amekupatia, unapenda, umependa vidole, umependa hairstyle. That is love.
Okay.
And of course, later on as you grow, you realize now you move away from that passion into values.
Yes.
You see?
Yes.
So values, commitment, thereafter checks after the values.
Okay.
So basically, if you fall in love with someone because of how they look and you don't look into their values, if you're not aligned with the same values,
correct.
Let me tell you, it will be a story of a 6 and a 16.
Yes.
Or a 6 or a 9 and a 91, because basically you're on different paths.
Yes.
So personally, one thing that I always emphasize is, kitambo umeambia mtu by the way nataka kukaa na wewe, jua that whatever values they have and yours are the same. For example, kama wewe ni mtu wa kuomba, uwezi enda uchukue demo adunda alafu una expect to have joy in your marriage. Haiwezi happen.
No, but Jesus alikam for sinners. Sasa wewe,
sasa umekuwa Jesus. Maybe
it's you who is supposed to save this person.
Sasa unafanya hiki kitu ikuwe complex. Unaona, unakuwa okay. Kuna hiyo, there's also, kuna kuangana ile intensity. Kama demo wako ulimtoa kwa bana, si kwa ubaya. Drinking is mtu kunywa according to their own pleasure. I know that I'm saying ati whatever.
Correct.
But at the end of the day, kama unajua it bothers you that a girl comes staggering into your house, then why go for her for the first place? Hakuna vile itakuwa na amani kwa hiyo nyumba. So your values have to align so that the environment you're coexisting with this other person is more peaceful.
So but at what point do these values start aligning? Because when you start, Venus, when you met Habi, the first times, it's not like alika akasema inapendeza values, and by the way una roho poa, your heart is really nice. So at what point do you start bringing those, or do you start realizing those values?
Frank. Okay, no, kama, there's
you
the
have
unspoken.
your values,
yes,
and I have my values, or he has his values, but how utaziona initially when you start? It's a journey, I believe that. So at what point does that alignment start? How do you work towards aligning those values?
Now, when you're courting, the reason behind courtship is to, be able to pick those things out. Me, I remember during our days, and that's why we need to do this marriage therapy at 40 and just maybe talk about the journey of a relationship. I remember Habi used to come home.
Yes.
Huko tu ghetto. Mazee ni chali amelelewa huko ubabini. But he used to come, tunakaa naosha hao, naosha vyombo, we talk. Yani, he was picking out things.
Yes.
He was looking for a wife.
Correct.
And he knew what he wanted. So during that courtship, he was able to align and say, enyewe, hata kama udema yuko 100%, kuna vile neza, unaelewa? Kuna hizo time pia nilikuwa na jam. Unaelewa, cause mimi ni ule dem, unajua ghetto tulifundishwa kutupa mawe.
Correct.
Guy. So there are those times you bring out another level of anger, but he would still think, okay, maybe I can deal with this. So if you know that you're courting someone now, you cannot stand something in her or in him, please walk away.
Bail out.
Otherwise, utakuwa hauna amani. The next thing tunaona sijui what, Frank has become someone else and all that. So at the end of the day, I really believe and I strongly believe that even in the current generation, because us guys from a maybe from a very different generation, even in this generation, values are very, very important.
Constantly.
Yeah, you cannot just see someone on Instagram. Nasikia siku hizi wanafanyanga e-dating at on Instagram just because as you I was you watched in Mevas you aje, and then you're falling in love with me. The next thing you want us to get married, wedding ni 6 million after tukitoka honeymoon tumeachana. Yes, because you never did it. I always say when you put work into something, then you're able to see the fruits of your hard work. That is just the principle of life. So I think going forward, Frank, we really need to consider this, because I think we have almost like over 30 requests. Can you talk about marriage and relationships? And I think it's just about time.
If you look at it from Being 40 perspective, right? And at 40, what some of the comments, you know, I mean, which we were getting from the viewers was more a lot of separations, a lot of divorces. You know, we have a lot of single mothers at around 35 and above, and even 40. And what this is doing is pretty much ladies are building that wall and becoming almost independent. They are scared. I mean, why is it like at 40 we seem to have a number of marriages collapsing? Or why? We have 50% working, but there's another 50% not working. But it seems like the one that is not working is what people project more on social media. People whose marriages are working, they don't really project as much, but there's a certain venom when you talk about marriage and single parenting. You can get over 1,000 comments, and mainly ladies. Why?
Let me just clarify that question that you asked about guys in their 40s, you know, being able to walk out, you know, of their marriages confidently, and I underline confidently.
Correct.
I think one thing that is very, very important for us to know is that it actually is the time. Your timings in terms of when you started dating is very, very important. Why? It brings in the idea of the stages of marriage. So if you in your 40s, right now in your almost mid 40s, umeanza kudate juzi, like maybe 2 years or 3 years ago, automatically I know you're in a drama stage.
Correct.
Because passion lasts between 0 to 1 year, depending on where you started the marriage from.
Correct.
Okay?
Yes.
Then babies will check in and all that. But between the 2nd year to around the 10th year, it's about drama. Because you're discovering each other. You see?
7 years. Rudisha chini.
Wacha tuseme tu 10 years. Unajua siku hizi pia kuna technology, kitambo mtu ashavunja simu 5, you know. So let's just say between that 2nd to the 10th year, depending on also personality, hapo kuna kuanga na drama. Now when the heat, you know, when you want to get something good out of something, put pressure. If you want to juice out of an orange, ieke finya your pressure. Then that's how you know how resilient someone can be and how committed someone can be in their marriage. Drama stage should be something normal. The only thing is that people have this perception that marriage is supposed to be what? To be very, you know, it's a bed of roses. They forget about the thorns. Those thorns that are there to prick you and sort of like make you rewired. Unaanza kufikiria, okay, why am I in this marriage? Why do I love this person called Frank? Or why do I love this person called Ini? And now it makes you now start maturing. But when you want to stagnate in that utoto or that mentality that you had when you were single, that marriage is headed nowhere. So for example, like for me, this is my 16th year in the marriage, okay? Basically, according to the graph of marriage, I am in the discovery stage.
Okay.
I am discovering that I cannot change my husband. So I'm aligning. Tumeshamalizana na kufight. I'm discovering, you know, the good things about him because pia nimemature.
So what's stopping me from jumping to that discovery stage? Pia mimi nianze tu kualign or the guys also to just jump into the discovery
because
phase.
Marriage is not, you're not married to yourself. You have someone else that you have come together with. And that person has a different personality. So you're also trying to find, you wendo unapendanga maneno ya true north. Mnajaribu kualign pamoja mkwe unified in everything that you're doing. And before you get to that balance, it takes time, it takes fights, you see. So hapo ndio drama inaingia, but later on, after the many fights, after the many disagreements, and after also spending too many nights not having peace, you decide, by the way, nataka tu peace. And one of you or both of you decide, can we change for the better? So then you moved on to the next stage, because now there's a level of acceptance. As long as you're always seeing the bad in the other person or the imperfections in your partner, you will never be able to have peace.
No, I mean, it's an interesting conversation. It's an interesting topic, and you know, we talk about imperfections. For me, it would also be just good to share also based on the comments that we had. The imperfection bit, does this journey, the way it's prescribed, when somebody sat and said there are these stages of marriage and there is this cycle, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, 5 years, does it always have to happen like that, you know? And can it apply differently in different people, in different environments, and or lazima ikae kwe, oh ndio meanza hapa bado mko hii pressure itakuwa, then you have to move to the does it always have to follow a certain channel?
Not
as,
really.
as you close, as you summarize?
But as you, you know, even as you look at the analogy of a tree, sijui kama hii imeanza kuflower njo iko hapa, hata thank God Mungu alijua tuko kwa hii environment, hivi ndio tulikuwa tunapigwa picha kama tumeshika hivi leaf. We were always thinking of green life, green marriages, you know, yani built for the road, but it's like saying ume drop seed kwa ground na immediately it sprouts and, you know, gets to this stage. It's impossible, you know, and that's why even the analogy of steps is, you know, it's there. A step at a time, you're growing. Umemwagiliwa maji, unanawiri. You see, as you go, you flower. And basically what I'd like to, you know, to say and emphasize even as we close, age is very important, Frank.
Correct.
If both of you are in your 40s, the relationship is bound to be different. Why? Because mume season, you've matured.
Yes.
If you're dating someone who's younger than you, maybe in their 20s, akuna vile demako in her 20s will be able to treat you the way a 40-year. So age also comes into play.
Factor,
When you come to the issue of success and, you know, the social status, it's also important because kama sasa wewe koma, you know, kama mimi, I mean, we are in this other level whereby you've done your investments and everything. So someone is coming in and maybe finding that you've already invested and all that. That will take a different turn. But wale watu walianza baka unanua kijiko pamoja, pia kuna kale ka respect. Because you've learned to work as a team. Oh, tuko na 20 bob, wacha tuende tubai. Oh, tuko na 100 bob, let's us buy this. So you're doing things together, as opposed to maybe someone else who is already, everything is there. You don't even need to go for shopping because there's someone who can do the shopping for you. So the everything just, it becomes a totally different, you know, whatever. So certain factors come into play.
And I think also, I mean, guys, I mean, thank you very much for listening and watching, specifically talking to you right now. I think also, just to add on what Venus is saying, I mean, I'm learning so much. I feel like I'm being cancelled on set because 16 years and me, I'm here still trying to, I'm fumbling around with this thing called marriage, honestly speaking. So social status contributes as well. You know, Venus has said, alitoka ghetto, lakini husband alitoka uptown kidogo. So historia coming from different backgrounds is not, there's a way it can work. And she's proving that to us. I mean, guys, thank you very much for tuning in, and asante sana where you're seated, where you're watching us from. This is Being 40 at 40, and we're just trying to tell you the stories around this time. Marriage. I'll also pass it on to Venus. I'm a toddler in this conversation, and I'll not claim to know so much about it. So thank you very much, asante sana, and let's connect in the next episode. Venus, this is your camera right here.
Sasa umekuwa producer. Anyway,
lazima kidogo.
Lazima to appreciate our followers. Thank you so much for all of you who have been even inboxing. You know, baka kuna wala wanapiganga simu. We really appreciate you. We appreciate your feedback, your suggestions on also what you want to see us talk about in terms of product. And true to what we have discussed today, please look out for our new product. We are going to be talking about marriage and relationships, and we hope that even as we do so, we'll be able to at least help you salvage what is left out of your relationship. Personally, I believe there's no marriage that should fail. Hata kama uko na the devil hapo, watu walitoka kuitwa ni Saul to Paul. Yani, change happens. It's just what matters is how willing you are. So hang in there. And please, please like, share and subscribe. Hiyo kitu nishaishika, Ukamba ilitoka. Of course, right now, because COVID brokenness imeisha, now I can wang. But looking forward to engaging more this year. And yes, marriage therapy at 40 is going to come up soon.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Hi guys, welcome back. This is Being 40, and this is the Minds Per Moment, where we get to talk about psychological issues. Our topic for today was very, very interesting because a lot of us, you know, are made and, you know, broken by our relationships. And this basically starts from our family levels, you know, to even the marriages and all that. The thing is that we were created to be social human beings, and love and affirmation is part of our DNA. So whenever we find ourselves, failing in relationship, it really does affect us. Actually, I don't know how to best put it, but it is a dent to our ego. But one thing that I keep on saying is, for your marriage to succeed, for your relationship to succeed, you have to first accept yourself. You must have self-love, because why would you wait for someone else to come and love you and show you how to be loved? It is you to show them how to love you. And a lot of times when I'm even seeing, people in terms of therapy, most of them come and, when you're engaging, you realize these people don't even love themselves. When you look at how they're even doing self-care, mtu ameparara, and you expect someone else to love you as you are. Please, 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 take this from me. There is no way someone else can teach you how to love yourself. It has to come from you. And when you do so, you become that navigational tool that will help the other person who's coming into your life to be able to know how to love you better. So that is that for me. I know I love talking a lot, but we will engage further even in our new product, which is coming because of the demand that this issue, this topic of marriage has. So look out for our new product. But in the meantime, please, as I always say, take care of your mind. It is a powerful tool and it can make and break you. Thank you.
Hello guys, how are you? And I want to appreciate you who seated right there watching us this very moment. This is Being 40 at 40. We are talking about marriage, and I think it's a very, very sensitive topic. It's a very delicate topic. And that's why I leave it to Venus to be the, 16 years, man. When we grow up, we want to be like Venus, right? But I mean, if you think of the brutal facts about marriage, definitely some of the lessons that I was speaking from Venus, guys, honestly speaking, I'm not the expert in this field. I think I'm the worst when it comes to this conversation, because I've realized marriage is not for the faint-hearted. It's not one of the things that you go in with a lot of expectations. I've come to learn there are processes. Nimefunzwa, there's a seed that you plant, you have to water it, you have to nurture it, you have to weed it. And if you don't do all that, then what do you expect to come out of it? I mean, it's gonna die at some point. So those are some of the lessons. I really, really borrowed a lot from the Venus conversation about marriage. Brilliant counseling, brilliant conversation. So let's all learn. And the brutal fact here, guys, is we are not monopolies of information. We have to go out there, learn from other people. Marriages are different. Each marriage has its own formula, so to speak, but it's not an easy journey. I mean, I'm telling you, I have been there. It is not an easy thing, and that's why engaging with the likes of Venus really gives us different insights. So thank you very much. Brutal facts, marriage is not for the faint-hearted. Trust you me, it's not. Thank you very much. Going back to Being 40, asante sana.